Welcome back to the On the Pegs podcast. I'm Abigail Bazzelli, and today's episode comes to you from the Rock Crusher STRA event, where we caught a few minutes to sit down with one of the top riders in the US, Josh Roper. Josh has had a big off-season with a lot of changes, and we get into all of it. From his recent trip to compete at the X Trial of Nations in Spain, to navigating a major bike switch heading into the season, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. We also talk about what it's like to step into the world-level arena, the differences in competition formats, and how his move to the East Coast has influenced his riding. And of course, we get into what's coming next, including his return to the Scottish 6-day trial. It's a fun, wide-ranging conversation with a lot of insights and a few good stories mixed in. Let's get into it. Okay.
That should work.
Welcome back to the On the Pegs podcast. I'm here with our guest, Josh Roper. Josh, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate taking your time. We're at a STRA trial today and had a couple moments to sneak away to talk about all of the exciting announcements you've had lately.
Oh yeah, we've had a bunch. We've had a lot happen, so I'm sure we'll get into it here in just a bit. But yeah, all good here at Rock Crusher, and we're close to Hayesville, North Carolina. So we're like right on the line. So like I'm pretty sure we ride like half in North Carolina, half in Georgia. So yeah. Which is pretty cool, but awesome place to ride. So if you ever get the chance, come on out here, come ride.
Absolutely. These are our first two events of the year, and it'll be our banquet tonight. So it's nice. We've got more than 90 riders here today. So it was a big event.
Do we really?
Mm-hmm.
90?
90.
I mean, I looked when I saw when we had our riders meeting, I was like, dang, we got quite a bit of riders here, but I didn't realize that's like a national.
Yeah, it's a new record for us. Usually we hit high 80s at this one because everyone's excited to come back, and the weather's been really nice the last couple of years.
It was beautiful out there today. I really did enjoy that. So, I don't know. Great day.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
It's a good warm-up for the first event of the season. Are you excited for Kairos?
Oh, yeah. It's a great warm-up. I mean, I think this place is like a tamed down level of what Kairos is going to be. So it's cool, just being on the East Coast, being able to adapt in pretty similar conditions. The creeks at Kairos are a little bit more aggressive, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. But no, it's a perfect warm-up going into the first round of the NATC series this year.
Yeah, and you've already got one big competition under your belt on your new ride. Could you tell us a little bit about where you just got back from, what that was, how it went? Give me the whole story.
X Trial of Nations in Sevilla, Spain. Sevilla is in like the very southern part. So it pretty much all started from when Daniel, TDN manager, he sent an email to all the TDN riders and was like, hey, would anyone be interested in going on over competing in the X Trial of Nations, representing United States? And so I was like, I was kind of scared at the moment. I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm like, this has been on my bucket list ever since I was a little kid. I mean, I literally grew up, to this day, like I'll sit on the couch and I'll just watch X Trial videos. But no, I was like, I have to do this. I was like, this is my one opportunity. I'm like, maybe not one, but I don't know what the future's going to hold, but I was like, I got to do this. I was like, I have to do this. So, I talked it over with my wife and everything, and she was like, yeah, do it, go for it. So I was like, alrighty then, well, I'm gonna do it. So I emailed Daniel back and I was like, hey, I'd love to do it. And the other rider was Ryan Land. So Ryan's been over there in Spain training and doing a lot of Spanish championships, and fresh off of his Trial 3 championship, which is super cool. So congrats to him. But no, it was really cool. So we got everything all set up, got the FIM license, got, all the details lined up, and booked my flight over there. I went a couple days early, and that way I could get used to the bike and everything, used to the new beta, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. So, but no, got there. The people over at Beta Tureba in Spain. So let me back up. I flew into Barcelona and I stayed there for 4 days or so. Picked up the bike, got all adjusted to it, got it all sorted out. Was there riding and training with some of the Norwegians, some Brits. There were Germans there. We had everyone. It was basically like riding trial GP pretty much, and so got all sorted to that. And then unfortunately, Ryan Land had a little accident with his finger, so he was unable to compete during that weekend, which is a little bit of a bummer. So we kind of reached out to the organizers. We were like, hey, this freak accident kind of happened. Are we still going to be able to ride? Like, can we still do this? And so they were like, yeah, that's no problem. You'll just have to ride your 3 sections, and basically Ryan will take a 5 for his other 3. So we ended up driving on down there. It's about a 10-hour drive. So me and Ryan's minder, Marti, we loaded up the van, packed everything up in Barcelona, drove on down there on the Friday. Got there Friday evening, and my mom and dad flew in as well, so I met them down there in Sevilla. And then Saturday, that was the day to kind of do the bike inspection and look at the sections and see how they are. And then we got into the event. So before I get into the event, I was going to explain how the X Trial actually works. So they pick 5 different countries to choose from. You all get invited, 5 different countries, and we were one of the countries to get invited. So it works a little bit different than what a normal X Trial does. Kind of think of it as 3 rounds. 3 rounds, you have round 1, 2, and 3. Round 1, everyone rides. This one is where each country brings 2 riders. One rider does 3 sections, and the other rider does the other 3 sections. From there, you're based off of your points. They kind of did it like a triple crown in Supercross, where you have your overall standing. So if you finished first, you had 1 point. If you finished second, you had 2 points. Third, and so on. Okay, so each country, 2 riders, each ride 3 sections. You're based off your score. You're put in your position. Now, based on that position, puts you into qualification number 2. I don't know what the technical term is for it, but
the second round.
Yeah, the second round. Yeah, and so from there, it's based off your first round's result. So I was put last because of our situation, and so from there, the second round is actually kind of like a speed qualification. All the countries do it.
Sort of like what they're doing with at regular world rounds with the speed section at the end.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they pretty much. Now the speed qualification determines who the top 3 get put into the final, and then the bottom 2 get knocked out. Okay. So top 3 advance to the final, bottom 2, their night's done.
Are they the same sections for
Nope, they're different sections. They're shorter sections. You're not riding the full one. You'll get bits and pieces of each section. Again, it's speed based, so the faster you get it, the better time you get it. Now, if you take a 1, that adds 10 seconds to your time. 2, 20, 3, 30. If you 5 it, it adds a minute. I think it's a minute. As much X Trial I've watched, I should know this. But no, I'm pretty sure it is a minute. So at that time, it's really a race to see who can get through those 6 sections.
So how different was that? And I know you do some mountain biking. I know you do some other things at speed. Have you done much with the trials bike at speed?
A little bit, just cruising around. You ride pretty quick, but not much with that. I mean, back in 2019 when they had the qualification, the race to determine starting order back then, I had done one back then, so not something I wasn't completely unfamiliar about, but it was just a matter of just getting through it.
So I think our audience is fairly familiar with the trial donations at this point. We've got, typically we send 3 men and 3 women to compete. One score from each section doesn't count. And now we also send a challenge team. This is exclusively for the men, but additionally, when we send a men's team at the trial donations, usually we compete in men's too. This was exclusively at the GP level.
This was like straight up GP, full X Trial stuff that we're talking here.
So at least you had the confidence of well, we know we can do trial 2 and we can come in and take over, because last fall you had the victory with that team, which was amazing. How was it taking that next step and competing at the GP level?
It was nerve-wracking. I'll be honest there. It was nerve-wracking. I mean, when you're sitting there lined up with literally the best riders in the world, you're like, man, this is very, very scary, but also what a cool opportunity. So super, super awesome. And that was my first ever indoor X trial. Now I've raced indoors. I raced endurocross indoors. So like seeing the crowd, the music, the lights. I mean, this is all stuff that you don't really think about, but it adds up when you're sitting there and you're like, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. Like all of it adds emotion to it. It's not something you can't feel that on the TV.
Right.
But when you're there in person, like you feel you can hear the crowd chanting, and I mean I just took a second and while I was off on one of the side, and I was just like, man, what a cool opportunity this was. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was good. So, but
so the other thing I can't tell through the TV, practice a lot at night and we set up a lot of lights. Lighting indoors, I'm sure, is kind of a challenge. Were the sections really well lit for whichever section was being lit? Did that change how things went for you at all?
So it's funny you bring that up, actually, because, well, the sections I chose, all of them were lit up. They put like big spotlights on all the sections, so it's like, you're just riding this section. You can't really see much of the other one, so they have all the spotlights on that one. Now, when I was watching the final, the very last section, they had a spotlight coming straight into the rider's eyes, and like they had shadows, and it was like the metal boxes, and they have like little spacing between them. So like for me, when I looked at it just standing on the floor from right here, I'm like, man, my depth perception would be so far off right now just trying to gauge everything. And not only that, but you also have a light shining directly in your eye. So one of the minders was like up there, like holding his hand up there, trying to block the light. But the sections I rode, to answer your question, no, they were perfectly fine. I don't really
usually not a problem,
yeah.
But just I'm sure depth perception anyway in a lit area. I know there have been a couple times where we've put out a lot of night lights, and having no shadows on anything can also kind of make the depth perception weird.
Yeah, but normally like I said, it was just that one obstacle. Everything else was perfectly lit up, so it was no trouble at all. But
so would do it again?
Yes and no. Yes. But also no. I don't know. I don't know if I would do it again. I would ask me in about like 2 more weeks, then yeah, probably. No, I'd probably do one again.
Would you do anything with your training differently to prepare for it than what you did this time? And what did you do this time to prepare for X Trial?
This time, like, I had like no time on the bike. So that was like something I was trying to get used to when I was over there, because all of this like change happened so fast, and was like a little bit of a scramble to get everything together at the last minute. But it all, thanks to everyone that was out there that helped me, we all got it sorted out. We got the bike working good. It was perfect. So, I'm so glad I flew over there early so I could get adjusted to the bike. At the time I didn't know I was going to be riding this bike, but it ended up working out perfect. So
let's go a little into the bike. I know at the end of last season, there's been a huge shakeup for all of our pros for several reasons across brands. You've been riding Gas. You announced Montesa. You pulled that post back down. You announced Beta not long before the X Trial. Again, the Beta still got organized for the X Trial, and that's where we're at now. And you're starting the bike on the new, or starting the season on the new Synchro. Can you tell me a little bit about what the off-season bike pairing process has been like, and what your goals are for next year? That, are you on the bike that you want to be on? Are you, and all that? Give me the scoop.
Yeah. So I started riding Gas in 21. No, end of 21. So, starting 2022. So I rode for them for 4 years pretty much. And man, what an awesome group of people. They are really, my biggest thanks goes out to all of them. It was fantastic. I mean, there's been so much support between all that and everyone who helped out. So huge shout out to everyone at Gas that helped me with that. And so, but yeah, it got to the end of the year and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I mean, right now, trials just kind of in a little bit of a tough situation, not only here, but also in Europe. I talked to everyone over there while I was just there about kind of everything that's been going on. I mean, they just had one of the top trial GP riders announce his retirement temporarily. But so I didn't really know what I was going to be doing. And so I got a phone call from Montesa and was like, hey, we'd like to have you. And I was like, okay, that'd be great. You know, I'd be super excited. You know, we worked everything out. Everything's all good. And then we had some kind of unfortunate series of events fall into a line that we just kind of mutually agreed to depart. Now, I really did like the bike. It was actually a really, really cool bike, honestly.
It was the change to a 4-stroke. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Dude, it was different, but it was fun. Like hearing the 4-stroke roar was like really cool though.
I know when you were
I enjoyed that.
looking at making the switch, you hopped on a couple of 4-strokes at one of our local club events.
Yeah.
And you would just come back with the biggest grin on your face
Yeah,
after playing with those.
The thing is like I always told myself, like long time ago, ever since I was young, I was like, whenever I retire, I was like, I want to ride a 4-stroke. I want to ride a Montesa. Just, I like the sound. I like the way they ride. They're pretty smooth. And I was like, I think it might fit my riding style a little bit. So I was like, I was super excited to do all that. But the bike itself was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It was super good. Bike had tons of power. It did everything that I needed to do. Now it, you know, I'll be honest, it was a little bit heavier. It sometimes kind of sucked to pull a massive pig up a big rock, but it would do it. It's just a different riding style that you have to get used to, and I adapted pretty quick to it, which was kind of surprising.
That's really cool. I know, especially for like Zaps, the timing is so different.
The timing is a little bit different on it, but I got to ride that bike in like the mud, and that thing was a monster in the mud. It was really good. Yeah, it's a whole trenches. I nicknamed it the tractor. So I have like one of the little my Instagram, one of the little you know, like the little circle things you can add on. Yeah, the highlights. I named one the tractor with just the Montesa. It was pretty funny, but no, I really enjoyed riding that bike. It was a super good bike. It was just kind of unfortunate how some of our events, you know, it didn't fall in line. So at that point, we just kind of mutually agreed to depart from there. And so once we had done all that, I was like, alrighty. So I called up Nigel and I was like, Nigel, we got a problem. I was like, I don't know. So I was like, man, do I just ride my gas? Do I, you know, what do I do? But he was like, well, what about, what if you reach out to Alex? Because like years past, I always joked with Alex. I was like, Alex, when can you and I be on the team together? Like, when can we just like go out and go have fun riding? And Nigel was like, no, you really should call him. So I was like, oh dang, you know, Nigel's normally right about everything. You know,
Nigel is right.
He's normally pretty right. He goes, if he tells me to use third, I should probably use third. So anyway, so I ended up calling up Alex, and he was like, yes, done deal. We'll do it. So he was able, you know, provide me a little bit of support and everything. And he was like, I can have you a bike here next week. I can have it ready for you before Fun in the Sun. Come on down. And I only live like 10 hours from him. So I was like, I'll be there.
Pre-announcement, that Fun in the Sun ride got a lot of rumors started.
Yeah, it did. It
was exciting.
Yeah, we were like, we're just gonna do it anyways. So.
If people hadn't noticed at that point that the Montesa post had come down, after Fun in the Sun, after that all turned up, everyone was looking for that other post because they're like, wait, didn't I just see?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. How are you liking the synchro? You're back on a 2-stroke. It's a different frame and setup. I think this bike is a little bit better for hopping broadly, and that's what I hear from all of the people who are much more proficient at hopping than I am. What's what's that transition life like, both from your status quo that you've built riding gas for so many years, and from your brief experience on a 4-stroke, now you're back on a 2-stroke. Where's this bike at? How does it compare?
So, like, right off the bat, when I first hopped on the bike, I was like, this thing feels pretty similar to my gas. Like the whole, I mean, it's a completely new bike. So it's really, I never rode the Evo. So it's hard for me to compare it to the Evo or compare it to anything else. So like the best thing I have to compare it to is a gas or a TRS. One of the first things I noticed was how planted it was right off the bat. I mean, I hopped on it and I was like, when you hop on a bike, you can feel the foot peg positioning, you can feel the bar positioning, you just feel natural with it. That's how I felt. So like the first 5 minutes I was riding around in Alex's backyard and just kind of hopping around doing everything. And I was like, I can get used to this bike in like 2 rides. So it was like super natural. It was harder for me to get adjusted to the Montesa than it was for me to get adjusted to the Beta, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's a much more similar platform.
Yeah, exactly. Again, hard for me to compare to the Evo, but I do know that the Evo had much steeper steering brake. It was a lot steeper, but...
That part's interesting because this turns, I think, as well as the Evo because of what they've done with the rear shock. Because I think the rear of the bike sits a little bit higher. And so even though they've moved the forks, I feel like
it feels really good.
Doesn't give you that tucky feeling.
Yeah. Which honestly, I almost like a little bit more raked out fork. Like that's how the gas was as well. When we got onto the KTM influenced gas, the front end was out just a little bit more. And so like I've been used to that for 3 years now. So like I said, like the transition to going onto the Beta was perfectly fine. I've also heard that the standard Synchro has way more power than what the standard Evo had. So I mean, right off the bat, I mean, right now I'm having no problem with power right now. So it's been, that really hasn't been an issue at all. So we got all like everything all set up on the bike when I was at Alex's, and we then went over to his brother's house. They've got like more indoor style riding and everything. They had some concrete tubes, and like the first 10 minutes, I'll never forget this. I like rear tired onto a concrete tube, and I just like sat there on the rear tire and just pivoted, and the bike just sat there perfectly. And like the rear brake positioning pedal, like it feels like the old style gas, like the 21 or 22 model gas. It was super comfortable, super easy to hit, super powerful. That's how this Synchro feels. So I was like, yes, we have a good rear brake on this bike now. And so
I can't believe how nicely the front comes up, and I feel like the pocket on the bike is just bigger than the previous bikes that I've ridden.
Definitely. But yeah, I sat there on the rear tire on the concrete tube, and I was just like, it's just like balanced there perfectly for like 3 seconds. And then I jump off and I look over at Alex. I'm like, this thing rear tire is so good. And I think that's due to like the influence on how the whole rear suspension and the linkage is designed. And I believe the swing arm is a little bit different as well.
Yes, it is.
On that. So, that whole Beta's whole influence on all of that, like makes being on the rear tire so comfortable. Like I was riding yesterday. 2 days ago, Thursday. I was riding Thursday in my indoor area, and like just back wheeling on that thing is perfect. I love it. It's so good. So I was like, but anyways, it's been easy to adjust to. It hasn't been too bad at all. So it was a little bit harder to go to the 4-stroke than it was to the Synchro. I've been on 2-stroke my whole life, so
I think one of the things that longtime followers of the sport or people who attend nationals regularly noticed out of your riding last year in particular was like, if you were at X level of comfortability with West Coast terrain and Y level before, you're now at like at least X on both from living out east, it would appear.
Yeah.
At least, how is moving east changed everything for your national season?
Moving east was the biggest influence on the TDN event this past year. TDN in Italy. They had some really steep hillsides, and that was always my biggest weakness being out in Arizona. So it's like when I finally came out here, I was like, I am riding hillsides all day, every day until we have them down. And so like going up until then, you know, we did our nationals, we had some hillsides here and there, but when we got over to there, like especially turning on a hillside, like Nigel will literally yell at me, "Don't drop your shoulder." What do I do in the section? Drop my shoulder. And so finally came out here, practiced a whole bunch of hillsides, literally just turning on hillsides. And that was like the biggest, putting that into what, work or something at the TDN event, however you want to say it, putting your practice into work at the TDN event was like the biggest sense of relief, knowing, hey, all that practice on the hillsides turning and everything made a huge influence.
The right things and it's paying off.
Because we did have a lot of hillsides at the TDN. I especially remember section 14. I watched a lot of people five that one, and we had a big swooping right-hand turn up a steep hill over some nasty roots, and
so many roots.
Yeah, a lot. And
that was along a big aqueduct, and it was so the hill kind of V'd into this aqueduct that was stepping up the mountain, and so we'd take a couple steps up the aqueduct, and then we'd do something on the hill, and then we'd come back into the aqueduct and keep working our way up the mountain. And so the last three sections. Yeah,
well, pretty much the last three were all on that super steep hillside, and that's where I feel like all of us as a team, with Alex and Will, you know, with them being from PA, it's natural to them. Mm-hmm. That didn't come natural to me being out in Arizona. So to match my rhythm with theirs, and all three of us just look at that and go, yeah, no problem. That was phenomenal. So, you know, going back to, hey, you know, X riding West Coast over here, and Y East Coast, you know, felt down here, coming onto the East Coast and practicing a lot of wet, slippery stuff. That's pretty much all I've been riding now. Has been super beneficial to the whole riding and everything. So it's been good. I enjoy it.
I think you were getting some really great results out east before, but your level of comfort in the sections was super noticeable this last national season whenever it was muddy. So I'm thinking of like Ohio.
Yeah.
The times I got to see you ride there, I felt like
Dude, what about Texas? Texas was
amazing. I loved Texas.
I thought that event was actually pretty good.
It was fun. It was really traditional.
Yeah, it was like a traditional trial, and we had like a long loop too. Mm-hmm. So I always like it when the loops are long. It's pretty fun to me.
Gives you time to clear your head.
Yeah,
and it was a fun loop too. A lot of single track.
Where was Ohio this year? I'm so bad at I can't even remember a section from. I remember now. Yeah, that place.
It was a little muddy.
It was pretty greasy in some spots. But
it wasn't rainy like Texas. We got that downpour. I heard about this event in 2001 in Texas or whatever, where they got a torrential downpour at that location. And I guess it like took out bridges along the loop and all sorts of crazy things. So when I saw it start raining, I was having flashbacks to these stories I heard.
Dude, the event that I remember was 2013. I believe it was in Ohio. There's a picture of Brian and I standing at watching the scores on the live team. Both of us just completely caked in mud. I mean, it was that event. I think it like poured and rained all day long too.
Didn't you guys have another one in like 21 that was?
Dude, when was 21? What was the series?
There was Ohio, PA back-to-back weekend.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, that one was pretty nasty. That was a hard event too. That one was pretty nasty, but yeah, I think it rained a bunch like the couple days before, and it rained on us quite a bit on Saturday as well. That was a hard event though.
That's what really I heard. Hard. That was the season before Chris and I started riding trials, and so.
Oh, was it?
Started riding nationals. We had started riding trials at that point, but we heard a lot about that event in particular because
that event was pretty brutal. It was pretty nasty. So, I don't know. There hasn't been much. There hasn't been one that's, at least that I can't remember. I'm awful at. Hey, bring on the rain. Bring it on.
It'll be fun.
But it's been.
If we get rain at Kairos, it'll be pretty exciting. But the creeks won't be bad.
No, I'd rather stay in the creek.
Yeah.
Now the hillsides, whatever sections Ray put on the hillside, If it rains, I know it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to this season.
I'm sure you've ridden Turkey Rock a lot of times.
Plenty of times. Rain doesn't really affect that place too much.
How's New Mexico?
Never ridden there.
Okay.
Never been to San Isidro. I've always wanted to go, and
you're checking things off the bucket list left and right this year.
It is. It's true. So
what's left on the bucket list for you? Where do you want to go next? What's happening?
I don't know. Well, Alex. So Nigel, Alex's brother Andy, Tom Frazier, Alex's minder, and Tom's brother Rich. We're all going over for the Scottish 6-Day. So it'll be my second time. Alex has done it. This is going to be, 23, 24, 25. This is going to be his fourth one doing it now. Yeah, Nigel's first time, and this will be my second time doing it.
So we're hoping to have you back on the podcast after that.
Do it.
Awesome.
We can talk about it.
Excellent.
You may want to talk with Alex about that one too.
I've already been plotting with him. I'm like, how do I get all of you guys in one place so we can do this
at a national?
At a national, we might have to import a couple people, but we'll work on that.
Yeah, that'd be good. No, Alex he'd be your guy to talk to about the Scottish 6-Day. He's done it so many times now.
So I've heard from him and from others, like, if you ride the Scottish once, you either are going to ride them every year until you're no longer able, or you are going to never go back, or go back once in 10 years, or like that was...
You need to get a quote from Dennis Sweden on riding the Scottish 6-Day. I'm not going to say anything because it has to come from him, but... It was, no, it's true. It's like you either hate the Scottish or you love it. Like my first year, I was like in a love-hate relationship with the event. I absolutely loved the sections, hated the loop.
Is it like...
The moors absolutely suck. It was miserable.
Is it like X-Trial, maybe right after the event, if I ask you if you're going to do it again, you say, ask me in 2 weeks?
So after I was done with the event, I'm pretty sure I told Alex, I was like, I don't really want to do that event ever again. A week later, I texted Alex. I was like, I'm ready to do it again. And so Andy Needier did it 2 years ago with Alex. And I've always watched it every year. Just because, it's just such a historical event in the sport of trials. And so I texted Andy last year when we were doing it. I was like, do you have FOMO not going to Scottish 6-Day? He goes, yes, it's bad. And I was like, okay, me too. I was like, you want to go next year? He goes, yes. So we all put in, and we were all able to get in this year, which was super good. Amazing. So I'm so excited. That was always one event Nigel and I always wanted to do as well. So I'm super excited that he'll be able to join in on that. And Nigel's like, his dad's from England as well. So he's like born to do it. So he's going to love it. So he's been training a lot actually for the event. Good. He found some rocks and everything. He'll send Alex and I videos of it all the time. And it's like, if it rains, like it actually gets a little slick on his little rocky hillside. It's not like creeks, but it's just a bunch of jumbly rocks that you can simulate a creek in. Mm-hmm. And he's actually been riding that quite a bit.
Good.
He's had more training than me and Alex. Definitely more than Alex.
Awesome. So with the Scottish 6-Day, give us a little preview of like what's the format? If you've not heard of it, what's the draw? What's the history?
So it's been going on for over 100 years now, I think. I'm pretty sure, now don't quote me on this one, but I'm pretty sure it started on like some bets that some dudes took. It was like wondering, hey, can you ride your dirt bike up that? And I think that's now do not quote me on that whatsoever. That could have been just a myth, but
if that's not how it started, that's how it still looks now.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's a 6-day long event. You average 80 to 100 miles. We've done the year I did it, we did like 110 miles one day. They call that road race day, which like
they run fuel out to you, right?
Yeah, so the British Army actually supplies all the fuel, so they'll have fuel stops, and they pretty much plan it to where you make it from point A fuel stop to point B you're using the whole tank. So like you kind of have to be conservative with your fuel and how you do that. But you're spending literally all day. You wake up, you're put into like, you're numbered like 1 to, I think there's like 250, 260 riders or something, and you're split up into groups of 50. So 50, 50, 100. And so forth. And then you start off at certain days. So the year I did it, I was number 62 or something. So Monday, we started at a pretty early. Tuesday, Monday's group gets bumped to the back of the line. Tuesday group gets bumped up first. And Tuesday was then our early day that we had to go out, but we finished early, which I kind of like that, but also kind of sucks because you're the first person to ride the creeks and they are so slippery. It's insane. So by the time the last group comes in, so many riders have been through it, like cleans all the tires, clean up the rocks, and now you have traction to do them.
What's the downside for being in the last group? Because I'm sure that some areas are...
I don't know if there's much downside to being in the last group, because number one, you get to sleep in a little bit longer. You get traction on the rocks. Oh, the downside, the moors. If you're last in the moors, like after 200 riders have gone through, like moors are just like nasty, swampy. I'll send you some videos. Maybe we can put it up so that way they can see what it looks like. But it's just nasty swampiness. Like you can literally submerge your bike in
I heard Alex said
I've got a good
had...
story about Daniel. I have to tell this one. So Daniel and I, this was like day 4 or day 5. And Daniel and I, we were running late on time. There's time checkpoints and everything. And you have to be on time. If you're late, you're penalized. If you're too early, you penalize. So you have to like plan accordingly with your different group of sections that you go to. And so Daniel and I, we were running late. Alex and Tom, they were already ahead of us at the time. And so Daniel and I, we were 4th, 5th gear running across these moors, and you just keep your weight back and you just lift your front tire over the moors over. So we were hauling, we were going side by side. I mean, it would have been a cool videos. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much like that. Well, we crested over this hill. We were going uphill. We crested over this hill, and I was on the left side. Daniel's on the right side. And when we crested over, I didn't have a moor there, it was like the edge of one. So I just wheelied over it. Well, Daniel, he wheelied over it, and the moor, he got like the deeper side of things. And when he dropped his front, we're going 4th, 5th gear across this up the hill, and we crested over. He drops his front. His front stuck, stays right there. His bike does a full front flip, and somehow of another, I don't know how this happened, but everything happened so quick. He gets his hand, I hope they can see this, but he gets his like hand in his helmet like this, stuck in the tire, like the tire sucked him into the exhaust. And he was like pretty much like upside down like this, face down. So as I'm still like, I was cruising, but then I saw that, it took me, extra 10 feet to get stopped, because I just saw him go down, and he went down fast. And so he was stuck in like this, and he was wrapped up in the wheel.
Oh gosh.
And like, thankfully, like he didn't get caught in the chain or the spokes or anything else, but
did he get burned by the exhaust?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he did, which is crazy. So I think like he was, so on the gas, he got sucked in on the left side because he exhausted on the right. And so he was stuck in like that. So I threw my bike down and I ran over to Daniel. And I'm like ankle deep or boot deep in this moor. And I grabbed the bike and I just rip it out from under him. And Daniel gets up, and if anyone knows Daniel, like, how his personality is, like, he can be like really energetic, and he goes, oh my gosh, you just saved my life, and I was like, are you okay? Like, are you good or what? He goes, no, we gotta go. He goes, I'm amped up on adrenaline, we gotta go. And I was like, oh my word. And I was like, okay, I guess we're going. So he was completely okay, but like, if I wasn't there with him, like, he straight up would have suffocated and died. Like,
oh gosh.
There. Yeah, it sounds traumatic, but
it kind of was.
Yeah, it was, and so we thankfully.
I think we're good now.
They're kids. We can let them ride.
Yeah.
But no, thankfully I was there to ride with him. So
yeah, that's wild.
That's why I always like to ride with someone.
Well, and it sounds like you guys are going to have, 3 pairs essentially for this year.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like you and Nigel? And I don't know if Alex will ride with Andy or Alex will ride with Tom.
it kind of just like flows. Like you can't ride in too big of a group because you have to keep the pace going. So like if I were to get, I'd probably ride Nigel, Tom, and Andy will maybe ride with us, or he'll ride with Alex, or whatever it may be. So you always have someone, and there's tons of people. There's people always behind you, in front of you. So there's always someone. So someone would have seen Daniel if I wasn't there, but I was just happy to be there, and
Yeah, and that it wasn't. I mean, it's a crazy story, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he was okay.
It ended in a good. Everything was all safe. Everything was all good. Ended in. Well, Daniel may think different, but ended in a good story at the end of the day. And no, so I went over the bars and the moors. That's like super common at the Scottish 6-day. Like
I've heard a lot about the moors.
Yeah,
it's like the sections are this much. The moors.
Yeah, the moors are that much. I passed a dude on the moors, and I passed him, and then next thing you know, my front wheel tucks into moor. I do a full front flip over the bike, and I just kind of sat there, and I looked up, and I saw the dude rode by, and he just kind of laughed and smiled and waved and rode on by, and I was like, that's embarrassing. After I just passed him, I was like, dang it. But Alex has got another good story about doing a front flip in the moors too. So, but no, Scottish 6-day, man, what an event! If you can do it, do it.
So. For aspiring riders, what level of proficiency do you need to achieve to have a good time at the Scottish 6, a reasonably good time? It's going to be obviously a butt kicker, but
I mean, it kicks Alex and I's butt all the time. So we're in this trailer right now. There's like walls the size of this trailer right now. Nice. There's walls the size of this trailer with like water going on it. And I kind of looked at it, and I'm like, dang, that's kind of big. And then I watched like some local Scottish dude on like a Beta 200, just like first gear, just like idle right up it. And I'm like, alrighty.
Just so you know, that's how I feel every time I go out west.
Yeah.
Because scale just doesn't matter out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So like, and I don't know, but anyone can really do it. I mean, you just got to be willing and able. Like, you got to be pretty fit for that event. I mean, you're talking 6 days on the bike.
All day.
All day, like, no joke, like 6 to 8 hours on the bike. I think I spent like 9 hours one day on the bike. I have it on my Strava, but I added it up, and it was like 400 and something miles we did on the bike. I put 30 hours. So I guess that averages out to like 6 hours a day. That doesn't seem right.
So I know you cross-train with mountain biking. Alex cross-trains with CrossFit. Would you just say, like, if you're fairly fit and ride regularly, you'll be able to...
if you ride regularly, you'll be tired. Like, I'll probably be tired because I'm not in the gym as much as I was when I did it. Like, when I did that event in 23, I was in the gym like 2 or 3 times a week working with a trainer. So, he kicked my butt every single day. So at the time I was pretty fit, but right now not as fit anymore. So, but I mean, if you just ride your bike and you have the bike fitness, you'll be fine. Like, you'll be tired at the end of the day, but I mean, just get through it. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat my own words. I know it.
Well, we'll just have them play that clip back for you, like at the end of day 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Definitely. Yeah. So, no, it's a great event, but yeah, you got to be pretty fit for it.
Yeah. I don't think I have the speed to keep up with the time demands.
It is pretty time demanding. Like, you got to go pretty quick. You can hold like an average pace as long as you're steady throughout the whole entire event. You're constantly moving and you're going, and you're not like sitting there waiting around doing whatever. If you do that, you'll get caught by the people behind you. That happened to me a couple times, and I was like, oh dang, like, I gotta catch back up. Like, the day, after Daniel and I were late and he just did his front flip, there was a section that we didn't even walk. We just rode it. We're like, well, it's a creek, so there's one way through it. So, and you can pretty much see a line all the way through it, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I mean, it's a good event. I enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, good luck at that event this year, and good luck in your season.
We'll probably need it.
Awesome. I look
Appreciate it.
forward to hearing all the stories from it. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of On the Pegs. If you'd like to find the show notes, you can find that at onthepegs.com. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode with Josh Roper. Josh, thanks for taking the time to sit down in the middle of a busy trial weekend and share everything that's been going on. From X Trial of Nations to a new bike and a big season ahead, there's a lot to keep an eye on this year. You can find the show notes for this episode over on the On the Pegs website, including links and additional information from today's conversation. And as always, thank you for listening to the On the Pegs podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and we'll catch you in the next one.